So, it's official. MetaZoo is dead. Now, I don't know any of the details really about this. I haven't followed MetaZoo as a company very closely, and I haven't looked at them really at all in quite a while. Um, I've heard that they've been having like cash flow issues, not being able to pay out tournament prizes and things like that. Not being able to pay artists. These are rumors. I don't have anything substantiated on any of this. I really just don't know about it. But the Hello Kitty deal that they had with TCG Player that went sour because TCG Player cut the price on it drastically seems to have been kind of the tipping point, respect to Malcolm Gladwell. But I did want to talk about something that not many other people are going to be talking about. I have actually seen one person talk about it, which surprised me. Go check out Board Matt. I'll put the link to his video down here in the description. Go check out that video from Board Matt. It's all about the pattern of price changes whenever a game dies. If you give him a subscribe too, if you're interested in dead CCGs at all, that's what he's all about. So have a look at that. He knows better than I do that there's a cycle of the values and prices of the cards and the sealed product of a game when it dies. And there's no reason to think that MetaZoo is going to be unique or different from all these other games that have died over the years. The main point that I want to stress is this. The collapse of MetaZoo does not mean that MetaZoo card value is going to zero. Doesn't mean that most of it's going to zero. I'm not saying MetaZoo is an investment quality pickup right now. Don't go jumping and buying all the MetaZoo on the way down. That wouldn't be a highly desirable return anytime soon. But I am saying, and I'm staying strong on the point, that every card has value. As Board Matt talks about in his video, MetaZoo card and sealed prices will plummet as people exit the game. There's going to be a massive sell-off. Prices are going to go down and down and down as people try and get whatever they can back out of the game, and it's going to be pennies on the dollar compared to last week. But unless some kind of civilization level event occurs that keeps people from wanting to buy card game cards, these cards are not going to go to absolute zero. They are going to go really low. Most of them are going to be considered worthless, and it's definitely going to feel like they're going to zero for people who've spent a lot of money on these cards over the last couple of years. But for the next 6 months to a year, they're going to crash down, and then once the market figures itself out, it's going to level out, and the prices will start to very slowly come back up. Also, that movement back up will be very uneven, focused much more heavily into the more highly desired cards, because there's going to suddenly be a lot fewer people wanting the cards than there were. The demand is going to be a lot smaller for the lower end cards. Once the prices do start to tick back up, the very high end cards, some of the, holos from the first edition of Cryptid Nation or some of the promos and stuff that are out there, those are going to be targeted by the people who are actually interested long term. Not everyone who's interested in MetaZoo is going to exit. There will be some crazy collectors with weird hair, normal guy in normal room types that are going to be ecstatic that they can buy a mountain of cards to sit on for extremely cheap prices. And then eventually in the 5 to 10 to 15 year time frame, not anytime soon, there will be nostalgia feels that will show up in some people who they miss their MetaZoo collection. They miss their cards. They want to go back. They want to, they want to complete a set they weren't able to complete. They want to play the game with their kids they didn't have at the time or that weren't old enough at the time. They'll regret selling off their collection and they'll want to get back into it. And we see this with lots and lots of other card games. If you don't believe that, then check out a website called Category 1 Games. They're kind of the biggest specialist in dead CCGs out there. Some of the prices you'll see on there you'll think are insane, crazy prices until you start to realize just how few of these cards are available on the market. There's not any way to get foil Emperor Palpatines from the old Star Wars card game, for instance. It's just something that jumped to my head. They're hard to get. They were hard to get then when they were new, and much harder to get now. And that's going to happen with these MetaZoo cards. You know, a lot of them are going to get destroyed, a lot of them are going to get trashed, a lot are going to flow into the hands of evil collectors. The market is going to dry up. The more highly desirable, low supply cards will eventually get targeted. Again, I'm not telling you this is investment or anything like that, but if you don't need the now admittedly much smaller pile of money you might get from your MetaZoo cards, and you don't need to free up the space in your house or whatever, then just hang on to your cards. Stick them in the back somewhere, put them in your closet, put them in your garage, put them in your attic. Every card has value, and sometimes that value in the short term is just the feelings you have attached to those cards, at least until the market comes back. And it's never going to be back like it is now unless somebody buys MetaZoo and starts making it again, and even then it might not, as we've seen with like L5R and Deadlands and things like that. If you really want to be getting more, again, don't treat this as an investment. Treat it as fun money. It can take a really long time to see any improvement in the market for these, and you can't ever control when that actually happens. But, you know, starting in about 6 months, you know, fall 2024, if you want to be buying MetaZoo cards for whatever reason, you're probably going to be able to get quite a bit at a really good deal around that, starting around that time. That will be after everybody's flushed out the market, everything's collapsed. Everything will find the bottom around that time, more than likely. Again, that's not a prediction. That's not like here, you know, October, you need to be buying MetaZoo. It's around that time frame is probably when you'll see the lowest prices. I'm not going to be jumping on MetaZoo or anything like that. So again, it's not something I've never really been super interested in MetaZoo personally, just because I didn't really like the art very much. If you did want to be getting them, that's when I would start picking them up. And note that game is on TCG Player. It's not going to be ripped off of TCG Player, so that will help with the resale and the liquidity later, at least a little bit. You know, you do still see movement in some dead or close to dead CCGs or very lower demand CCGs just because they're on TCG Player. So that's really all the thoughts I had on that. Just wanted to get this quick one out. I was planning to do a video about my new card scanner today, but kids are just getting back from being sick, and it's been hard to get them back in a routine of going back to school and all that, and we just didn't have the time today. But look forward to that video here in a few days.